Ali.
Super Bowl week. Super Bowl week. Rambling Hour, February the 4th. Michael, what's up?
What's up, John?
30-year anniversary. 3 years ago, right now, what were you doing? Were you shitting yourself?
What time is it? It's 8:54.
8:54.
It's probably like when did that game start? Like 8, 7?
6:30.
6:30.
No, it started like 6:30.
So the game was probably over by now. Yeah, I was probably driving home with my dad, and he was honking, just held the horn the entire way home.
Oh,
what a night that was.
what a night. And then the 3 years that followed, we're just right back in the goddamn pit. And speaking of that, since we last were live, the head coach had a chance to talk to the media.
Yeah.
Not a lot of love. He's not getting a lot of love for right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say this. You can't expect him to and a lot of people are mad at him for not naming a quarterback and not, making that decision now.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest fucking thing. Because he hasn't got a chance to evaluate either of them. He hasn't seen them live. He hasn't talked to them much,
Met them even.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. The press conference wasn't promising.
No, shaky to say the least.
But you got to let him spread his wings. Let it fly. Let everything work. And I can honestly, and right now, and we have all the Wentz trade rumors. Personally, deep down, I think there's going to be an offer on the table from the Indianapolis Colts. That's me. That's me talking. I don't know what's going to happen.
If we do end up trading him, I think that's the team that he goes to.
That's going to be the team. New England might be a possibility, but I just, the sounds of it, the feel of it,
trading Carson Wentz.
No, but like by the sounds of it and everything that's coming out, like it's a real possibility
that he gets traded.
Yeah,
that's insane to think about.
It's insane to think about. It's a real possibility. I think now, I fluctuated ever since the Doug Peterson firing. I feel like Wentz is going to stay.
That was my
last week. I was talking to my brother, and I'm like, I think there's a 65-35% chance that Wentz stays. Now, 60-40, 55-45.
I think I'm going like straight 50-50. Like I really have no idea what their plan is with this offseason. And I saw something that Nick Sirianni doesn't have any control over the roster. It's all Howie, which not that I want Nick Sirianni to have a hand in it, because to be frank, I hate that hire. There were better guys there, better offensive minds on the table, I think. But, whatever. I don't think either of those guys are a guy that I really want having full control over.
Here's the thing, though. You got to look at it like this. I'd rather give a guy like Nick Sirianni a chance to spread his wings. And, this is the first time that he's an NFL head coach. I'd rather hit that than a Todd Bowles. I'd rather that than a defensive coach right now.
I'm surprised
we got to look at it. I'm very surprised that Joe Brady didn't get a job. You also got to remember, too, like, who was actually interested in the Eagles' job and who wasn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And the thing is, like, you don't know. Like, you don't know. I don't think, and this might sound conspiracy a little bit. Do you really think that Eric Bieniemy wanted the Eagles' job? Like, do you really think that? And I think there could be some false reporting. And that's just kind of how I'm feeling. And this might be a crazy thought. I really don't think Eric Bieniemy, and to tell you the truth, I really don't think he wants to leave Kansas City.
I don't know why he would. Same thing goes for Dabble, I think.
And the thing, and everyone's complaining that he didn't get a job. But you have a chance to work with Andy Reid, win another Super Bowl, win more Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. If the Chiefs aren't winning on Sunday, they're going to probably win. I'm going to say this right now. They're winning next year if they don't win Sunday. Mm-hmm. And so, and I get the argument about the black coaches, and I get the argument about like the minority coaches and whatnot.
It's talked about too much, I think.
But the thing is, do these guys really want to leave where they're at and go to like a Houston Texans, which is a shit show, the Philadelphia Eagles, which is a shit show, the New York Jets? I mean, yeah, they got money to work with, but you gotta get it
ultimately
ground up.
Show.
Like I could see one of these guys like going to a team that has some more talent and would want to work with that.
I thought Dabble would end up with the Chargers, and for a while I thought Bieniemy was going to end up in Houston because there were so many rumors circulating around that like happening, and then everything with Deshaun Watson went down, and then Houston as a franchise kind of like plummeted to the bottom of the league within a week or two.
Yeah,
and they became the most undesirable job in the league.
I'll get to Watson in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But with back to the Sirianni thing,
mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, like the thing the Eagles really need is the one thing that the Eagles need to happen is spring OTAs, and you make both the quarterbacks come.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a way that they can get both these guys to OTAs for evaluation.
Yeah,
that way the head coach can see what he's working with, and but not just the quarterbacks, but see his wide receivers, see his defense, see like the rest of his offense, see the special teams, because you can't make a decision about the quarterback.
Not
Sirianni seeing him. Like personally, we have a quarterback competition. All right, right now, this is my gut feeling. If I'm the Eagles, you let these guys duke it out in training camp. There's not going to be a preseason next year, but you let them duke it out in training camp. You let Sirianni go with the guy that he's comfortable with, the guy that he works better, and you trade the other one. And it's going to be a lot easier to trade Jalen Hurts than Carson Wentz. But you rather have that one guy to work with and that one guy to invest in
than
not. And you can make the argument that Carson Wentz has been invested in and that they put a lot into him. But let's look at, has he run his course though?
I think you got to see, like you said, you got to see what you have in both of these guys. You kind of know was last year just a down year for Wentz, or is this accuracy going to be like a, is it going to continue to be a struggle for him? Because Hurts probably played better than Wentz did in the last couple weeks of the season.
And also to kind of, add into that, the Eagles were in more without the Dallas game, which was a total conundrum. But the Packers game, top two team in the NFC,
more competitive.
That was like night and day.
Yeah.
First half to the second half. When they, the Packers game, the Saints game, we beat the Saints. The Cardinals game. He played good in the Dallas game. Up until
he showed promise.
I guess Doug Peterson decided to throw the ball like 200 million times. And then the Washington game, which, there was a reason why we took him out to get a draft pick. If Jalen Hurts was still in that game, we would win that game.
Probably.
So you got pieces to work with.
Hopefully we draft a receiver too. Hopefully. please, for
come-
the love of fucking God, draft a
there
receiver.
comes a point. Well, I mean, yeah, they have to draft a receiver. I think there's no question about it. I will say this though, I did spend a lot of time watching. I watched some, I mean, I was bored. I'm like, all right, let's throw some Devontae Smith highlights on. We're not getting them. Let's watch it.
He's really good.
Impressed. I didn't get a chance to watch every single Alabama game this year, but I saw how good he was.
Yeah.
While I was at it, Jalen Waddle, I watched a lot of his.
Also really good.
And Jalen Waddle, believe this or not, and this might be a Mac Jones thing. He saw more production
while he was healthy.
Yeah. Compared to Devontae Smith in the same offense.
Mm-hmm.
But once that factor Waddle was not there, Mac Jones relied on Smith. Smith, also shows you how good Alabama is.
Yeah. They just got all these guys.
I watched Ja'Marr Chase from last year. Impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned on some Michael Parsons, and then I turned on some, some of the other stuff. But I was also very impressed with Kyle Pitts, the tight end from Florida, Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
And I saw a report, ironically, the next day that the Eagles would be open to drafting him at 6. And I'm like, you know what? I will be okay with this. I will not throw my remote at the TV. I will not break my TV. I won't do anything. I will be okay with this.
How tall is he?
He
looks his build. He looks like a receiver that's just really tall.
And that's what I'm saying. He's 6'6", 240. Another SEC product.
If we could, work him into a receiver, like a wide receiver, not a tight end, because is he much of a blocker?
I don't believe so, but
yeah. So, I mean,
I only watch his receiving highlights. Excuse me.
Yeah, he'd be our number one wide receiver if we put him out there. But
imagine him with Dallas Goedert.
Yeah,
two tight end. You have Marquise Goodwin coming back. I also believe that Sirianni would develop Jalen Reagor. That's me.
Hope.
And Jalen Reagor was more involved in the last few weeks. So I see that. So you add him into that tandem, plus God knows what we're doing with Alshon Jeffrey. God knows what's going to go on with.
Fuck out of here. Alshon can fuck off.
You have Greg Ward, you have Fulgham, you have probably those two. I think they have upside. I don't think they're the standout.
Whiteside's out. So you'll probably end up with Ward, Reagor, Goodwin, Fulgham, whoever we draft, hopefully.
I mean,
that's not it's disgustingly bad receiving core. It's not great.
But don't get me wrong here, too. I want to see Ja'Marr Chase drafted because I don't think Smith's going to be there at 6. I'd rather see Chase or Waddle over Pitts. But, I mean, if Pitts was there and they took him, I would not be upset. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think we just need a weapon on offense. We need someone that can catch the ball. And if I would prefer it obviously to be Ja'Marr Chase or Devontae Smith, or I'd probably rather us take Jalen Waddle over Kyle Pitts. Maybe I think I don't know. It'd be weird if we took Kyle Pitts. I don't want to take a tight end number 6 overall. I think. Don't get me wrong. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be an absolute stud. That guy's one of the safest picks in the draft, really. But
yeah,
I think we need, with all the shit that's going on at quarterback, we need to get these guys someone out wide that can, get open and catch the ball.
Yeah.
Plus, Goddard, I have a lot of faith in Dallas Goedert. I think he can be really good.
I do too. And also, you got to fill that void with Zach Ertz being out. I think that's another thing too.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. So yeah,
Definitely. Two tight ends has been a staple of this offense.
it has been. And also I think too, Carson Wentz needs like that kind of. I don't want to say he needs a safety valve,
Yeah,
because but
that's
I
what Zach
mean,
Ertz was.
he was better with Zach Ertz. I thought Carson Wentz
yeah.
would do a lot better without Zach Ertz. He was a lot better with Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things we realized from this past year.
Mhm.
So yeah, man, we'll see.
It's going to be a very interesting offseason for the
like we said, and it's only going to get interesting as things go. Because I believe that there'll be something. Something's going to come out within the next couple weeks. I don't think a trade's going to come out, but there's going to, I think being a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, like I said a few weeks back, it's literally like watching a drama.
Yeah.
It's literally like watching a drama. It's just a shit show after shit show after shit show, and you win a ring, and then it's another shit show, and it's just like
never ending.
Yeah. So we'll see. On to the Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah.
I
just want to say that the Houston Texans are very, very quickly climbing my list of least favorite franchises, because the way that they're handling this is childish. Like the guys made it very blatantly clear that he does not want to play for you, and he has no interest in playing for you. And if you don't trade him, he probably will hold out and not play for you. And they're not interested. Like I saw something that said NFL execs were telling somebody that they're like pretty much not taking phone calls and are like adamant about not trading him, which is just ridiculous. Like the haul that they could get for this guy is insane. Like it could really, like, you trade him, you get at least 3 first-round picks.
He's proven.
Yeah.
I mean, in my book right now, he's a top 5 quarterback.
Easy.
You led the league in passing, and you have to look at what he had to deal with as his weapons. His number one was Will Fuller. Will Fuller's good. He's not number one.
No. And he was after PEDs late in the season.
So you missed him. Mm-hmm. You had David Johnson, who was your second best weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was there? Kiki Kuti.
Brandon Cooks had a pretty good season.
Brandon Cooks. That's nothing really, though. Compared to a lot of these other teams. Mm-hmm. And the Houston Texans, it's kind of a shame if you're a Texans fan, because for years and years and years, the one position you needed was a quarterback. And now, and last year they made it to the AFC divisional round. They could have made it to the AFC championship game.
They had a 24-0 lead.
And Kansas City, if they were to win that game, I mean, I think they could have went to the Super Bowl, but that's besides the point.
Uh-huh.
If that Bill O'Brien trade with DeAndre Hopkins,
I don't like it. It doesn't even matter how many times I see. It's been over has it been a year? No, not a year yet. But it's been a whole season with Hopkins off of the Texans and on the Cardinals. And every time I hear it, it just blows my mind that they traded DeAndre Hopkins and didn't get a first-round pick for him. How is that possible?
The Lions traded for Jared Goff and got 2. And these idiots trade the best receiver in football and don't get anything but a second-tier running back.
And a second-round pick.
For the best receiver in football. It's almost a year, and we're still laughing at it.
I'll laugh at that forever. It's got to be one of the worst trades in NFL history.
And now that set the Texans franchise back another 5 years because they finally got the quarterback that they coveted, and now you're not going to have him. You're not going to have it anymore. So
yeah, now it's from the ground up.
So speaking of Deshaun Watson, I think personally he's going to go to the AFC East. I think if you put him with the New York Jets, they will build around him. They will use him. They will appreciate it. I think they got to sign a couple receivers. They'll make a push for Allen Robinson if they have the money for it, which they probably do.
Watson's got a fat contract, but
yeah,
I'm pretty sure the Jets have a lot of money because
they have a lot of money.
They're paying,
and that will. And to tell you this, Mike, move Darnold, trade him, see what you can get for him. They could get something good.
You can get like a second, third round pick.
You can get a second, third round pick, and for a guy that can start, probably be a backup, but he can start. I'd probably trade. I'd probably stay in house. I'd probably call the next four the Giants. Hey, you want to Sam Darnold because I'd rather have this guy than what you got now, Daniel Jones. You want him, you want him to be a backup. Maybe you put a little fire under Daniel Jones's ass.
QB competition, maybe.
I think in New York.
If he goes to the Jets, I would assume that they're going to trade Darnold for Watson. So,
Darnold be on that team. He wouldn't be anything.
I don't know. He wouldn't be anything, but he's better.
It'd be a fucking waste of space. It'd be a waste of one overall pick.
Well, they would get the third pick or the second pick in that if they traded for Watson, and they'd probably take Fields or Zach Wilson or whoever they view as the better quarterback.
Even with that, Mike, if they were to get Deshaun Watson, they could draft Devontae Smith. They sign a receiver. They see what they can get in return for Sam Darnold, and then what? You have you spend 2 years rebuilding or a year and a half rebuilding, and then you're good.
Well, let's not forget what franchise we're talking about.
But I mean, they do have an executive that has won a Super Bowl.
And I do like Robert Saleh. I love that hire, but I'm not gonna. I really don't want him to go to the Jets because, they're gonna have to give up a lot of picks that they need because the roster is not good. They're gonna have to give up Sam Darnold and at least 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Shit, they won't even get DeAndre Smith in that case because they probably have to deal the number 2.
Yeah. They're not getting.
But then they have a late first round pick.
Is 100% being traded if they get Watson.
But then they still have a late first round pick, right? Or would that have to go?
That probably goes too, yeah. And then your first round picks for the next 2 years probably. And Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
That's probably if he goes to the Jets, that's probably what'll happen. And then the Jets will get fucking third round pick or something.
I could see it working, but I could also see it miserably failing.
But then if that happens, then the Jets don't have draft picks. So they got money. They've got Deshaun Watson now, which will be a reason for players to come play in New York, which is also another reason. But, I don't like the fit in New York at all. I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
I think he'd be just as unhappy there as he is in Houston.
I mean, Houston's in the number 4 biggest market. New York's obviously number 1. It's completely different animal. Because it's the East Coast. Mm-hmm. Because it's a tougher place to play.
It's New York. It's capital of the world.
Maybe he wants that. Maybe he wants that type of publicity. I mean, figure you led the league in pass yards on a shitty team. You're a top 5 quarterback in football. In my opinion, in my book, Deshaun Watson's the number 4th best quarterback.
I got him 3.
I think you have Mahomes, Rodgers, and Allen.
I think I have him above Allen slightly.
Yeah, that's not a big margin for me.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know.
I really, really, really want him to go to Denver. Like,
I do too.
really,
Now,
really
and listen to me. Last week, I can only see him going to the Jets, to the Bills, or no, to the Patriots, Jets, Patriots, or Dolphins. Any team other than the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. Now, I can see him going to Denver. And what would Denver have to give up? You think?
Probably 4 first round. Well, they don't have probably like.
Would they have to give up Judy?
Nah, I don't think they would want to do that.
What about Sutton?
Maybe like Bradley Chubb.
You still have Von Miller.
Yeah, well,
I mean, if I were them, I'd rather give up Von Miller because he's older.
They'd probably rather have Bradley Chubb, the Texans.
Yeah,
but maybe Drew Lock too, just to give him like a replacement, someone that a young quarterback that has potentials. I think Drew Lock could still be good. I thought he was going to be better this year, but he wasn't. But still, he's only like what? This is going to be his 3rd year next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably give up him, maybe Chubb, and if you give up those 2, you might be able to get away with giving them just 2 first-round picks and maybe like a 3rd. Maybe. I'm trying to think of like Madden trades, but God knows that doesn't reflect real life.
Right. We'll see. We'll see.
You will see.
This is good, and I think you're going to start to hear stuff. I think next week's going to be a big week in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes.
Mm-hmm.
And once free agency goes and gets going and everything.
Yep. You want to talk about the other quarterback that got traded?
That is Matt Stafford.
Sir.
Matt Stafford,
what a
move. In my book now, I will mark him. It's not if it's happening. It's not a argument of how it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's a top 5 quarterback now.
He
is a top 5 quarterback now.
You think next season he's going to be a top 5?
Matt Stafford is going to put his name next to Tom Brady, next to said Deshaun Watson, next to Aaron Rodgers.
I
think and I really like Josh Allen. I think Matt Stafford's going to be better than Josh Allen.
I like it.
It's going to be in that
conversation. I don't know top 5, but I do think he could be in that, in the ballpark, because this is by far miles and miles ahead of any other roster that he has ever played on.
And you got to remember too, this is why I'm saying he's going to be a top 5. Matt Stafford has been within the top 15 or top 10, 15 with 3 different coaches, 2 different coaches, whatever.
3 coaches.
3 different systems. He's always been pretty good, if not really good.
The talent has always been there. That's never been the question.
He's always, and also too, like he's had to, and this is a guy that's had, he's had decent weapons, but he's never had great weapons. And Megatron. You can make the case
outside of Megatron, not much.
Outside of Megatron, not really much. But you can also make the case that there's similar type of weapons in LA, but not really. I think LA, it's more about the system. LA is more about Sean McVay. LA is more about coaching and how things are going to be run.
Yeah, you can go.
That's why I'm saying that. Like if Sean McVay can make Jared Goff, top 10, 5 passer? Wasn't he a top 5 passer at one point?
In yards or just like
in passing yards?
He was. I don't know if he was top 5 in yards.
But he was in many elite conversations.
He made a Pro Bowl.
But he was in many elite conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people were considering him as an elite quarterback. And plus, Jared Goff, people are going to. I mean, this is one of those weird things. He made a Super Bowl. He won an NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
He's won how many playoff games?
Yeah, a lot. His playoff record definitely better than Matt Stafford.
Playoff games. He's won 3 playoff games, 4 playoff games, whatever. But that's besides the point. This is about Sean McVay paired up with Matthew Stafford.
That's huge.
I'm telling you, I have a lot of faith in Matthew Stafford next year.
Me too.
I really do. I have a lot of faith in the Rams. I know they gave up 2 first-round picks, but look at what they did this year. That was a team that was so off and on and back and forth and this and that. Mm-hmm. And they still managed to win a playoff game. They still managed to be content with the Packers. And, they still managed to be competitive. And I think that the Rams, I'm telling you, and this is, I'm booking this. I think next year you're going to see another game at Lambeau Field with the Los Angeles Rams and the Green Bay Packers, but this time for the NFC Championship game. And this time, Green Bay is going to take the number 1 seed, and LA is going to be the number 2 seed. It also could be at SoFi with LA at the number 1 and Green Bay at the number 2.
We got another.
And I can go on about the Packers and how they're going to be well without Aaron Jones, but that's another debate for another day. We have an entire, almost like a very good amount of time to talk about that. We'll save that discussion for the summertime after moves have been made and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But right now, these initial thoughts with the LA Rams, they're going to have a fun fucking year next year.
Yes, it's going to be
the Detroit Lions. But what were we saying?
I think it's a very good time to be a Rams fan.
I think it's a great time.
And it's a great time to be Matt Stafford because you're finally out of that shithole in Detroit, moved to a great city in LA. He's not going to be relied on to win them the game every single week. He's got arguably the best defense in the NFL behind him now. He's got 2 Pro Bowl caliber receivers, Cam Akers, and a strong run game. Sean McVay, who's one of, he kind of fell off a little bit, but I think that's Jared Goff not fully okay, I'll say it like this. The offense is capable of even more now than they were with Jared Goff. Like, this is going to be a scary, scary offense.
I think Sean McVay makes this as good as – I think the pairing of these two, Stafford and McVay, is going to make this the best team, a top 2 team in the NFC, a top 4 team in football.
Yeah.
That's me. That's how I'm feeling about this.
I could very easily see them having home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
And let's talk about the weapons. You have Robert Woods.
Good receiver.
Top 15, would you say? Top 15. Cooper Kupp
is good. I like Cooper Kupp a lot.
He's good. Josh Reynolds, you can work with him. Tyler Higbee, top 10 tight end.
Gerald Everett's another solid tight end.
Yeah, and then you have the 2 backs.
Brown. You got a lot of guys on that offense and a solid O-line. And now, instead of Jared Goff, who I think everybody kind of they took Jared Goff as, decent, but it was really McVay's system making him more successful than he is. I think he's going to be dreadful, absolutely horrific in Detroit.
I think he's going to be a placeholder for the next guy.
I think they should.
He's going to be a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, give him a chance with Dan Campbell.
I like that. I like that coach.
I think we should be fair here,
Mhm.
but based on what we've seen with a Sean McVay-less Jared Goff, which has been one season, which has been with Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher, he was horrible.
Oh, you're so bad.
He would miss throws that could be 2 feet away. Like, that's how bad Jared Goff was.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I think this is the first big move that could really
shake
impact
things up.
the NFC and impact the league.
I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Rams, even really if they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Like,
shocked.
the thing is, if you're a Lions fan, you should be happy with this. You should be sad that Stafford left. But
You got
it's kind of nice that
2 first-round picks. By the way, the Rams haven't used a first-round pick since taking Jared Goff,
yeah.
and they just traded their first-round picks till 2024.
And the thing is, too, like, Dan Campbell has an opportunity here to build this team up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a opportunity to make this his team. Like, yeah, like, you're not expecting much out of the first year. You're not expecting, anything big to happen. But this is his opportunity to, like, okay, yeah, this is my team. This is my guys. I'm going to build this team. I have these first-round picks to build this team. And this is just one of those things. And, like, what the fuck were the Lions going to do with Stafford in the next couple of years? They weren't going to do anything. They were going to lose. They're going to lose Kenny Golladay.
Probably.
I guess you're going to be shaving years off DeAndre Swift. You might as well take a couple years, build the team up, and then see if you can put a winning product out there. And also, you're in a tough division. You're in a really tough division. You have Green Bay there. No matter who the fuck is going to be the quarterback for them in 5 years, I could still see Green Bay being good.
Uh-huh.
I
think Matt LaFleur is a really good coach there.
The Minnesota Vikings, do not count them out still.
They're competitive.
Look at their offense.
Mm-hmm. And the Bears somehow made the playoffs.
The Bears are the only team that I could see Detroit being somewhat better than within the next couple years.
Yeah, but I'm not hopeful for the future in Chicago.
Back to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, just kind of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck were the Vikings bad this year? That's what I'm trying to say.
They have a lot of people on offense. Kirk Cousins had a really good year.
People were saying he had a bad year. I looked at his stats today, and I'm like, he didn't have much of a bad year.
No.
He didn't have a bad year. And plus, he got another.
Their defense was deplorable.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, if the Minnesota Vikings can build a defense, they could be another playoff team. You can't count them out at all. And you know what? You're always going to know what you get out of Kirk Cousins, too.
Yeah, solid. He's not gonna light the world on fire, but he could lose you the game more than he wins you the game, I think. But he's a above average game manager, I'd say.
But back to the Detroit Lions, I could see them being competitive with the Chicago Bears. And, because the Bears are,
it's a fluke playoff. There's no way they should have made the playoffs.
It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Oh, excuse me. They started 5-1. 5-0. And it's like, how? Like, your defense is not that bad. But
you got pieces there.
If I'm them, give me in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. But also, I don't see Allen Robinson coming back.
Nah.
So I can see that team being an easy 8-8. That's their ceiling, or 6-10, or 7-9.
Who, Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're anywhere from like 5 to 8 wins.
Yeah, I don't see them being good at all.
No.
So, and the Detroit Lions, I mean, let's see what the Dan Campbell experience brings.
I think they got the best deal that they were going to get for Matt Stafford, because, like, 2 first-round picks is a lot, and Matt Stafford's not young, and he's not. Nobody would classify him as a winner. He's extraordinarily talented, and
But here's the thing: this is his option,
underrated.
and kind of right now, he's been with one franchise. He's been with one. I mean, he's what? He's been in the playoffs like once, twice.
Yeah, a couple times.
Um,
He's never won a playoff game.
I think this is an opportunity to make. I think like if you want Hall of Fame status, and he goes to LA and he puts together years where he, where he can go to a Super Bowl or if he can win a Super Bowl, and he, passing yards and,
If Matt Stafford wins a Super Bowl, I think he's a top 15, top 20 quarterback ever.
I don't disagree.
Talent-wise, I think he's probably top 10.
I don't disagree. And that's why I think he's going to be really good.
Mhm.
Because this is a guy that
Not scared to throw it 60
he's not
yards.
scared to throw the ball. He knows how to use receivers. He's a smart player. So
I
All right,
really, really like that trade for both sides.
yeah, it's going to be very good. We'll touch on basketball a little bit before we go in depth and we talk about Sunday. We'll touch a little bit of basketball. We'll get a little bit on the topic. I'm going to save a lot of my baseball stuff for next week, because there's some. The Phillies have made some very good moves. I'm very proud of them this week. So, but I'm going to say that for a little down the road.
The Sixers are down.
They're down 15 right now.
Yep, to the Blazers.
Are you kidding me?
It's 81-66 with 5 minutes left in the third.
That's with
Embiid's got 35 and 4.
31 in the first half. This is a Portland team that doesn't have
like anybody.
No.
Nobody. Their starting 5 is what? It's Gary Trent, Rodney Hood, Robert Covington, Melo, and Enes Kanter. You fucking kidding me?
The Sixers could be tired though. They could be worn out because they had to travel last night and then play back to back, and no excuse, but
you got it.
At the same time, why is Embiid playing?
He's got 35.
He's got 35, but why is he playing in the game?
I don't know. Tobias Harris has 10.
Well, that's why.
Steph Curry's got 0.
Oh, no Ben Simmons tonight.
Yeah, but is he? I guess defensively you miss him a lot because he does a lot of things defensively, like a lot of things. He's like one of the best defenders I've ever watched.
But anyway, that's not good. I think
looks like a loss.
It looks like a loss, but let's look at the grand scheme of things. I was very happy with what I saw last night. Very happy with what I saw last night. They got a big game against Brooklyn on Saturday. I want everybody there. I want everybody to play in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this. Do you really see the Brooklyn Nets being healthy or having all 5 of their guys in a 7-game series against a team like us or the Boston Celtics?
Well, there's injury concerns with Kyrie more than anybody in that big 3. Who?
We're the Bucks. Us.
I don't know. It's just gonna. I think, come playoff time, I think if everything's healthy, I don't know if anybody's beating them.
Yeah.
It's really tough to ask guys to go out there guard Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving.
It is very tough. I mean, they are undefeated together. If you put all 5 of those guys together, that team, just give them the fucking trophy. But the problem is, will all 5 of them be together? That's the thing.
They don't have a center. but I've been hearing a lot of rumors that Andre Drummond is going to get bought out by the Cavs and sign with the Nets, which would just like ruin everything for me because I think that the East is really competitive right now, and I think the Sixers have a real shot at winning the East, and I think Boston is going to really have a shot at winning the East. Brooklyn, obviously. But if they get Andre Drummond, I mean, they've got three of the top like 5 scorers in basketball and the best rebounding big man. Like, there's no way anybody's beating that team 4 times before they beat them 4 times.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah, and we'll see. Like, I mean, it's going to be one of those things that you have to kind of look as the season unfolds. Because the Sixers, and these are the big games. Like, if we can get all 5 of those guys on the court on Saturday and the Sixers' best 5, that's must-watch television. That's preview to what is going to happen, most likely, barring any big injury or setback.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of people's Eastern Conference Finals matchup right now. It's mine.
Yeah, it's mine too. It's going to be very interesting, and it's also, and I think this is going to be fun too. It's a Philly New York game.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's going to be one of those fun things. All right, we are
a few days out.
3 days out.
Game.
The overthinking is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, when we first knew what this matchup was going to be,
mm-hmm.
my gut told me Tampa Bay, Tom Brady,
mm-hmm.
home field. He has something to prove, and
they're on fire.
You know, this is a team that, and like I said, it's kind of reminded me, and I said this in the last episode, they remind me of the 07 Giants.
Road games.
And they're playing a team. Now, let's be real here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers it's not a David versus Goliath game by any stretch, because the Buccaneers are good. They're a good team.
Yeah. Led by
Excuse me. But
they're underdogs.
They're underdogs, and they're playing a Goliath.
Yeah.
And my thoughts and feelings have not changed. I still believe that Tampa Bay will win this game. I still believe that, you know, they're on their home field. I kind of feel like Tampa Bay is the better defense. I think they have the better front. I think they have the better push. I think they have the better secondary.
Secondary, I don't know. Front 7, definitely.
I think they do. I really do. But I don't know how they will match up. I think they have. I mean, you look at who they've went up against in the playoffs: Michael Thomas, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams. You look at who Kansas City's went up against. They went up against Cleveland and Jarvis Landry and, you know, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is good, but, you know, that's not. I mean, if you go up against Devontae Adams, that's kind of something. But I think I still believe it. You know, and I was watching highlights from the first time these two teams played. Kansas City I think Kansas City was a step ahead. They were a step ahead. But little did we know at that point, Tampa Bay is a different team now. This is a different team. If you go, you get the momentum that you have, and you beat 2 very good football teams, that's something. And you do it all on the road.
Yeah.
Away from home. Yeah, Washington was a kind of a gimme. But then you go to New Orleans. And that's a team, that they've seen twice. They lost
out of them both.
Twice. But you go down there and you win. You go to Green Bay. Green Bay had a pretty full stadium. It was actually kind of like it felt normal. And yeah, they beat them once, but they do it on their home field in the cold.
Yeah, it's been a very impressive run. Definitely.
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I know how good Kansas City is. I still feel, though, if Patrick Mahomes, if he's going to lose a Super Bowl in any game, any Super Bowl that he's in, it's going to be against Tom Brady. It's going to be against the greatest quarterback of all time. But on the flip side of that, something does tell me that if Tom Brady is going to lose another Super Bowl, it's going to be to Patrick Mahomes. But how I feel about this is Tom Brady, there's no way. I just don't see any way that Brady doesn't receive another ring this year. So that's how I feel.
Here's something that I'll say. I think if the Bucs win, I don't think Tom Brady's going to be the MVP, because I think the only way that they're going to win, the offenses, I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to go score for score with Kansas City. If it turns into a shootout, I think Kansas City's going to win. The way Tampa Bay is going to have to play, they're going to have to take advantage of both of the starting tackles for Kansas City being out and get after Mahomes with Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Sue and Vea up the middle. They're not going to be able to run the ball. Kansas City will not be able to run the ball. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, has two pretty good running backs in Leonard Fournette, who's having a very good postseason, and Ronald Jones, who has had a really good season. And they're going to have to keep the ball on the ground with those two, mix in some play action with, pick a weapon. And yeah, it's going to be tough to contain Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill. As we saw in their last matchup, Hill went for like 250 in the first half. But if they win, I don't think it's going to be Brady winning them the game.
I see it the other way. Because Tom Brady, look at every Super Bowl he's played. Now, yeah, the last one against the Rams was, it was boring.
Yeah.
But all it took was really 1/3 of Rob Gronkowski to set up a touchdown. He made that throw. And look who he has in the Super Bowl again. Rob Gronkowski.
I think he's going to have a good game.
I think he's going to have a good game.
I'm betting money that he scores the first touchdown of the game.
I really think if any way Tampa Bay wins, it has to be on the back of Tom. It has to be on the heels of Tom Brady. That's just what I think. Michael, he put up 500 yards in a Super Bowl. This man shows up to play. He shows up. If you tell him, listen, there's a Lombardi trophy on the line, he's going to show up. And I think, to tell you the truth, to be honest with you, I think this is the best supply of weapons that Tom Brady has ever had in the Super Bowl.
Probably.
Gronk?
Definitely, like, in terms of quantity, yeah. He's got, like...
I think this is the best.
Yeah.
And you can make... And listen, the Chiefs have on paper, better offense. They put up more numbers. But I don't think they have a lot of variety as much as Tampa Bay does.
They don't even need variety.
I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, you're going to get what you're going to get from Kelsey. You know what you're going to get from Tyreek Hill. You know what you're going to get from Mecole Hardman. But here, Tampa Bay, you have a running game. You have Evans. You have Godwin. You have Gronk. You have
AB, Scotty
Miller.
Cameron Brate had a couple touchdowns this postseason.
It's just like bam, 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 bam.
It's so many. There's so many weapons, so many people to account for.
So that's where I see this, and it's on their home field. And
Yeah.
I just see it.
I've
I
been.
don't know the score, though. I really don't know what the score is going to be. I can't
I
predict
don't
the score.
either.
I'll tell you a score. I'll tell you, but I don't know how it's going to. I think, I will say this, though. It's not going to be, I don't think a team's scoring. I don't think a team's just going to sit at 30 points. I think this is going to go into the 40s.
Yeah. So you're betting the over.
I'm betting the over. Come on. Like, you have Tom Brady and you have Patrick Mahomes. You have Travis Kelce.
If these teams want to put up points, they will put up points.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to say about this? I thought I would have a plethora of things to say about the Super Bowl, but in reality, I was just like, nothing's changed. Like, I didn't really look into it. I'm like, listen, like, I've seen what I needed to see. I know what I need to know. Like, and I've dished it out. I've dished it out on this podcast. I've dished it out. I've said, like, look, it's just you don't have to dig into this. I mean, you can dig into the stats if you want, but I mean, it's laid out. If you've been watching football for a good period of time, meaning like 5+ years or even 4 years, and you've seen Tom Brady play, and you know what he's about, and also know what Patrick Mahomes is about, but at the same time, you rather have the experience than Mahomes has experience, but you rather have the more experience. This is Brady's what Super Bowl? 9th? 10th Super Bowl. Okay, he knows what this game is about.
That doesn't seem real.
He hasn't even played bad in any of these Super Bowls. He shows up. Maybe with the exception of the 2 Giant games, but like them being the worst. But even them, he didn't have terrible games.
Yeah, I've really been struggling to like. I want to say the Chiefs. I really want to, and part of me does think that they're going to win, but Tom Brady on his home field in the Super Bowl, like
Can I also
hard to pick again?
Can I also point out to you one more thing?
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is? How hard it is to win back-to-back Super Bowls.
Very.
And you're playing
Brady.
I have to say it again. You have to play Brady to win one. And it's not the first one. If you beat Brady in the first one and you play a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo in the second one, then that's somewhat doable. Like if you beat Brady and then you play and don't, but it's still the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the Super Bowl.
God, I want the Chiefs to win so bad, but I don't think I can pick against Brady on his home field in the Super Bowl.
More days to
like everything just like kind of fell perfectly into the Bucs' laps. Like, well, I mean, at least for getting home field advantage in the Super Bowl is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But don't count the Chiefs out.
You can't. You can't. Could it just be the football gods being like, okay, Andy, we're going to give it all to you at once. Just be patient. We're going to give you all your Lombardis at one time.
I'd love to see them win. I'd love to see.
And don't get me wrong. I would love to see it for Andy Reid. I would love to see it for Patrick Mahomes. I respect Patrick Mahomes. I respect Andy Reid. I don't hate them. I love the Chiefs. I really like the Chiefs. But I'm just saying, like, it's so hard to go against Tom Brady. It's so hard. It's so fucking. It's so
tough ask. But if any team's gonna do it, I think it is the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't disagree. I think if Buffalo won, give me Tampa Bay.
Give me Tampa Bay all fucking day.
Give me Tampa Bay. If Cleveland, give me Tampa Bay. It's just
anybody else in the AFC, give me Tampa Bay. But it's the Chiefs. Maybe still give me Tampa Bay, but I'm not as confident in picking them as I would be against pretty much any other team in the NFL.
And you watch Patrick Mahomes more than a lot of people that aren't Chiefs fans. You know what Patrick Mahomes' skill set is. You know how good he can be. And you know what he's done. And we've all seen it. I mean, look at what he's done in the playoffs. What he's done in his young career.
No, it's no secret what this guy's about.
It's no secret what what his skill set is and whatnot, and it shows. Obviously he's the best quarterback, but look at what we're dealing with. And the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think they've had much, I guess, like competition this year. It's fair to say, maybe.
They
played down the teams.
They had a lot of. You can go ahead.
They played down the teams.
I think in the middle of the season they did, yeah.
They haven't dealt with and yeah, they played Tampa Bay once, but they haven't dealt with this type of.
This is probably. I mean, I get the Bills. Going into that game, the Bills scared me a little bit, but I really wasn't that worried because Josh Allen wasn't he's proven as a very good elite quarterback, but he's not proven as a playoff performer yet because he didn't play well. This is Tom fucking Brady,
and I have to say this too about the Bills and Josh Allen, how many And I love to bring up about the weapons, but how many guys other than Stephon Diggs does he throw the ball to?
Yeah, he really doesn't throw the ball.
It feels like he only throws the ball to Stephon Diggs since Stephon Diggs is good, and that's an easy game plan for Steve Spagnuolo. Okay, you can take this guy out, you take that tight end Knox out. They don't have a running game,
Mm-hmm. Beasley was playing like a broken leg.
How are you going to game plan for Tom Brady when he has Mike Evans? And yeah, you could bring up the whole thing. This is how you beat Brady. You put pressure up the middle. You stack the box. You throw these guys. You throw a shit ton of guys at him. But when he has Antonio Brown running on the field, when he has Rob Gronkowski running around the field, when he has Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, how hard? It's hard.
It is really tough ask.
This is more weapons than he's ever had in New England.
Yeah, in terms of quantity, yeah.
Quantity and these are proven guys.
Mm-hmm.
These are proven guys.
Yep. It's so what's your official prediction?
I'm just throwing out a score, 45-42 Tampa Bay. 3 points, spread, bam.
I'm going to go.
If you like offense, if you like high scoring, bam. I think it would be a disappointment if this is not that type of game.
Yeah, this game better hit the over.
I think it better hit the over, and it better, you better see offense. You better see fireworks.
Both guys better play. Both quarterbacks better play really well.
If you give me 3 overtimes, that's exactly what I wanted. If you get 100 points in total,
mm-hmm.
Both teams,
mm-hmm.
That's what I paid. That's what I signed up for. In terms, meaning watching it, that's what I expected.
Mm-hmm. I think final score, I'm going to predict 38-36 Chiefs. That's my score prediction.
Does the game come down to the end?
Yeah, last drive. Is it a game-winning field goal?
I say game-winning field goal.
Butker, it's a game winner, maybe. Etches his name into the history books.
Kansas City wins their second in 2 years. Their third of all time. Andy Reid gets his second Super Bowl.
Could happen.
It could happen.
We will see.
Could happen. I think, and also, too, we've been blessed. And, thinking about this today and, seeing all the, throwbacks and tributes to the Eagles Super Bowl, I think we've been blessed. In the time we started watching football, which for me was 10 years ago,
mm-hmm.
Of seeing good games and seeing,
really good Super Bowls.
When I started really watching football, 2009, 10, 11, I do like. I think the first Super Bowl I really watched was the second Giants Patriots, and I hated the fact that people around here were rooting for the Giants.
Yeah.
I hated that. I also hated the year before how people were rooting for Pittsburgh. So those are the first two Super Bowls that I really watched.
Mhm.
And like we've had those two games which were pretty good. The Ravens, the Harbaugh Super Bowl, Ravens 49ers, that was a really good game.
That was the first Super Bowl I ever really watched.
That was a cool game.
I didn't care about it, but that was the first one I watched.
I will say, I think
Patriots Seahawks was the best, or was the first Super Bowl that I like rooted for someone really, and I was rooting for Brady and the Patriots.
I hated Seattle. I think one of my least favorite teams of all time was probably the Legion of Boom Seattle team. They were good. Don't get me wrong; they were not a team to fuck with.
Yeah,
but I hated the fact that you go to a mall back then, or you go to like anything, and we're living in Philadelphia.
Seahawks shit.
You see Seahawks shit, and you see people wearing Seahawks shit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I never understood it.
Bandwagons.
We have the 28-3 game. Then you have our Super Bowl, which
even if you're not an Eagles fan, that's still a great game to watch.
And here's the thing, and also too, like today, like when you're sitting here today, and you're like, yeah, I mean, like this team now versus this team 3 years ago, like you expected different.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought like we would be in this position now 3 years ago, you'd be pretty fucking pissed off and disappointed.
Yeah,
but you gotta say, like, at least we saw one. At least we it came out of nowhere and it left. And as much as a great thing as it left a black cloud over this team. You got to be like, yeah, you know what? It's nice to have a nice Super Bowl champion poster in my room. It's nice to have, say, oh yeah, I was here during this. Like, you could be a Jets fan, or you could be a Browns fan, or you could be a Bills fan, and you could be like, oh yeah, I don't have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've never seen my team win a Super Bowl.
I'm pretty fucking fortunate. I've seen the Phillies win a World Series. Now, granted, I wasn't a fan back then, but at least I saw a championship when I was a fan of a team.
Yeah.
So,
God knows the next time that's going to happen.
So I think this weekend, you're going to get a very good game. I really do. I think you're going to get. I mean, even last year's game was great. I loved last year's game.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was great. But I really think I mean Tom Brady. If Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl, it's must watch.
This is the most evenly split I've seen opinions on who's going to win. It's pretty much if you ask 10 people,
I'm not yelling or screaming. If this is a game, I think the last few Super Bowls, I shouldn't say the Rams Patriots and the Patriots Falcons. I think both those games, everyone was pretty clear that New England was going to win. Now, with Super Bowl 51, clearly different. I mean, Atlanta
looked going into the game, you probably thought New England, and then you thought Atlanta throughout the first three quarters, and then the story.
Turned on, but yeah, I mean, you can't really debate. You can't really debate. These are the two best teams. These are clearly the two best teams.
Yeah, they deserve to be here.
Yeah. So we went an hour and 10.
Next time we hear,
we'll be officially in the NFL offseason.
Where the fuck did this season go?
Crazy to think about. After Sunday, I'll,
post-football depression.
I don't really hit. I think this is a time of year where I just sports just suck. I mean, yeah, basketball and hockey, which is great, and you watch it, and they're fun, and there's nothing like watching hockey and basketball, but
nothing fills the void.
the void is filled for me when spring training hits and I'm sitting in my room trying to get MLB TV to watch the Yankees and the Rays like play like an exhibition spring game when it's all double A players. Like that's me though. I mean, like
I can't say the same now. Yeah.
I mean, but I can only imagine like you have an entire year where it's just like this sucks, this blues, this is like horrible. You're sitting in the summertime and this is just like this sucks, this blues, this is horrible. And then training camp happens and you're excited again. So, yeah. All right.
I gotta give you know what, the NFL deserves credit for getting through all this COVID bullshit pretty seamlessly.
I think the thing too is, if baseball got through a 60-game season, the NFL can. The NBA got through the bubble.
NFL can do it.
And they did it. And I think that the big question I had going into the season, like, you had these cross-country matchups. Like, week 2, the Eagles played the Rams. And they played the NFC West throughout the year. I didn't know how that was going to work. But it did. And now I think we're at a point where I believe you can start letting fans back in. I believe you can start, getting back to normalcy.
I think there'll be fans next year, at least in some capacity.
I think next year there's no reason to have 75%. That's me, because we'll be further into this thing, almost towards the end, probably at the end, where you can have that amount of fans in. I think Major League Baseball, I think all 30 teams should have fans. I think the NBA should start opening it up, in the NHL. Like,
there are a couple of teams in the NBA that have fans now.
Yeah, and it's you're starting to hit a point, like you're getting midway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
You already have loss from March, April, May, June, the playoffs. You gotta start filling that. You gotta start making something.
Yeah.
And you gotta start, figuring out like how to get them back in. And hopefully for the playoffs, the NBA will have fans, and the NHL.
For the playoffs, I really hope they do.
And I'm really hoping that I'll be in Citizens Bank Park on April 1st. I'm being serious. Like, I think it's ridiculous. I really do. Because it's getting to a point now, and I'm glad the Super Bowl is having fans. And the AFC and the NFC Championship games, like, they felt normal. They really felt normal. So I really don't understand how you can't do it. I really don't at this point.
I think like third. I think like 30% capacity is probably like what's gonna end up being the thing at a kickoff next season. And I'm sure for the playoffs, they should get fans in there.
I just think it's ridiculous.
Percent capacity.
It's first of all, it's not the same. I feel like I'm watching a completely different product. And it's watchable. Don't get me wrong, it's watchable. It still feels the same in some level.
Yeah.
But
you want fans there.
You want the full effect back.
Yeah.
You want the full effect back, and you want
and the players do too.
And I'm fine with the mask. I'm fine with social distancing. But you want something there. You have something there than nothing there. So that's my thoughts. When we talk again, when we're on again, which will be next week at some point,
we will have crowned a Super Bowl champion.
We will be in the off season. I will be in baseball mode. I will be talking baseball. I will be going off about baseball.
I'll try to
as well as
do something baseball,
as well as previewing the NFL free agency, talking about the Super Bowl, thinking of thoughts about the Super Bowl, and that's that. So, all right, Mike.
All right.
Great episode.
Great episode.
All right. Take care.